Charlie. Hello everybody and welcome to CFC TV. This is our Premier League review. It's a brand new segment me and Charlie are bringing to you.
Can't wait.
Here's Charlie. There you go.
You alright?
So we're going to bring you basically everything that's happened in the Premier League so far, and of course more news about our team. So Charlie, what has been going on?
Well, there's only one place to start, and there. Bournemouth. I think it's the best we played in weeks, Sophie. I thought the first half was a little bit difficult. We all know Batshuayi didn't play, and I think we were kind of lacking that focal point. Kante was a big miss. I mean, everyone who's not a Chelsea fan was excited about how we get on without Kante and Costa. And I think, while Fabregas and Matic both played well, Matic had a great game, especially going forward. I think Wilshere got a little bit too much space in the first half.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of, they had a couple of chances for Bournemouth, and it was all a little bit kind of uneasy. Having said that, once we scored the first goal, and particularly in the second half, Chelsea were brilliant. We've seen that quite a lot this season, especially in the last few weeks in this winning run, where we haven't had the best first half in the world, but the will to win that Conte has instilled in whatever he's doing at half time must be working, because we were brilliant second half, completely controlled the game. Some of our forward players scintillating, like Hazard was unbelievable.
Hazard was so good, and obviously not to mention as well who got man of the match was Pedro. And now, listen, I'm a big fan of Pedro. I think he's a brilliant player. I think he does so well for us, and the pace he had on the field against Bournemouth was undeniable. He was a massive part in the reason we won 3-0 and kept a clean sheet.
Well, he's man of the match, wasn't he? And look, he had a very, very difficult year last year. It was his first year in England. He's come from Barcelona. He's a Barcelona kid. He's won the Champions League there. He's won titles there. He's won the World Cup with Spain. Don't forget. I mean, he's clearly like a very, an elite player. Yeah. Right, but when he came to Chelsea last season, he couldn't fit in at all. It didn't look like he knew what the Premier League was about. I mean, I got so sick of hearing my dad slag him off.
Charlie's dad doesn't like Pedro very much, but even he liked him.
He's coming around.
On Boxing Day.
He's coming around. He's coming around. And Pedro did a wonderful bit of skill right by the touchline, which got the whole crowd on their feet.
Yeah.
And it's great to see him really show off his talents on this side. No, I think he's been one of the biggest turnarounds in terms of form since Conte's changed his formation. The only bad news is obviously he's suspended for the Stoke game.
Yeah, exactly. But nevertheless, guys, we're still 9 points clear, and it was a brilliant Christmas. It really cheered all of us up. And Conte now has got major faith in the whole of our squad. Even though we didn't have Kante, even though we didn't have Costa, we've proved, and I think we've proved to everyone that we can still do it.
Well, it was our best attacking display in the last few weeks, and it was without our main attacking player.
It was wild. Okay, on to the rest of the Premier League. Now, me and Charlie are in the pub on the Fulham Road. As you can see, we're actually changing colour right now. So we're sat under like a big fluorescent light, but all for the effects and everything.
It's all right, yeah.
We have just literally watched Liverpool smash Stoke 4-1.
Yeah, that wasn't too much fun, was it?
Not the best for us. But they're we did a poll earlier on Twitter, and I asked you, who do you think is our biggest contenders, and to catch us, and 53% of you said Liverpool. I didn't actually include Man United in the poll. Maybe I should have done, but we're quite far ahead of everybody now, and we're halfway through the season.
Good news, isn't it?
Yeah, good news.
I agree with that 53%. I think Liverpool are our biggest challengers. Obviously, we just watched that game, and while they had a difficult start, and Stoke obviously got the first goal, they were completely ruthless in how they took them apart. Particularly as the game went on, and the way Klopp has changed that club is just incredible.
He's a good. I'll give it to you. Out of all the managers that come in and go and whatever, I really think he's a talented manager, and he's after Brendan Rodgers, he's sort of changed. He's getting the best out of all the players that should have been playing.
Well, I mean, look, he's built that club in his image, which is mad for a club the size of Liverpool, with Liverpool's history, as they love to go on about so much. But on the pitch as well, they're just a ruthless, fantastic sort of attacking unit, and I think they will win the vast majority of the games they have left. January 31st is when we played them midweek up at Anfield. Obviously they beat us earlier in the season, but that's going to be such a crucial game. Yeah. I think if we can get 3 points out of that, then we're absolutely laughing.
Exactly. On to City then. Now they won on Boxing Day against Hull. They had a really decent game there. Yeah. However, Guardiola did say after that game that it would be really tough to beat Chelsea, and I think part of the reason he said that is because we managed to scrape, not only a win but a clean sheet as well, without having two of our really key players. And I think that's sort of scared everybody now.
Well, I mean, the most amazing thing about Chelsea's 12-match winning run, how many goals we conceded? 2?
Nothing.
Mental.
Nothing. Nothing's going in.
Absolutely mental. Man City, I think, have the strongest squad in the Premier League. I don't think many people would argue with that. It still doesn't seem like Guardiola's quite got everything he wants there. I mean, even Kevin De Bruyne came out last week and said Guardiola's been surprised with the amount of teams that play like really direct football against Man City. That's always going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not that it works, of course, but if you're Hull playing against Man City, you're going to be defending 10 men behind the ball. Any attack you get is going to be a long ball, and it remains to be seen that Guardiola can deal with that. You know, I sort of roll my eyes a bit when people say that Guardiola's not a good manager or anything. It's quite clearly not the case. He's done it in Spain, he's done it in Germany, but he is taking time to adjust to the Premier League. And Man City have got their own problems with their defensive lineup. They've got their own problems with having their goalkeeper Bravo settling. So I think there's a little bit too many creases to iron out there, and of course, unlike Chelsea and unlike Liverpool, they're going to have the Champions League to contend with when that kicks back in February.
So they're going to be pretty tired by then.
They're going to be pretty
tired, worn out, and well, let's face it, guys. The bottom line is, no matter what our competition, we are 9 points clear.
We really are. And you know, obviously Arsenal had a kind of a last gasp win against West Brom, and I thought that was a potential banana skin for them, so they'll be very pleased they got through that. But the team, apart from us, that's actually most on form is Manchester United.
Yeah.
They sort of quietly put together a very, very impressive run. They've now won 5 games in a row. I think they're 11 unbeaten. And Mourinho seems to be, all the problems that everyone was writing about at the start of the season with Mourinho, he's kind of slowly been edging them together. I think it's a little bit too late for them this season. But stuff like installing Phil Jones at the heart of the defence. Yeah. Phil Jones was basically a reserve player at the start of the season. He's done fantastically to be back there. Ibrahimovic is on absolute fire. Like I said, the good news is that they're so far behind us that I think it's more of a worry for teams like Arsenal in 4th and teams like Tottenham in 5th, obviously. And you know, the shame if you're a Manchester United fan is they might have put five wins together. They've not actually, because everyone else has been winning, they've not actually risen above 6th.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I really relish all these teams trying to catch us because I really don't think it's going to happen.
It's a very good position to be in. I don't want to jinx it. I think
let's not jinx. Right, so now it is time for the fans Q&A. I asked you all to tweet in your questions earlier for the lovely Charlie Skillen, and you actually come up with some quite decent ones.
And most of them about football this time, and not my sort of
most of them about football and not where Charlie is and how much you miss Charlie and how much you run on the channel. Thanks, guys. Me and Rory felt well special there. Okay then, so Aidan says, thoughts on Mitchie not starting against Bournemouth, which is it's a controversial one, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you know, all through the week at the Mail, we were writing features about Batshuayi and how he was going to start and how this was his big chance. And it didn't quite happen. Look, it's a massive shame for Batshuayi. He actually tweeted out after the game, you know, thanks for all your support. Obviously, he got a lot of messages saying, you know, chin up and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you can't blame it too much because obviously, especially in the second half, our attacking display was so good, and Hazard was kind of playing more centrally as sort of what they call a false number 9, and he did very well. I feel like we were lacking a focal point, and the team was adjusting to not having that main central striker. But it's quite clear that Conte doesn't feel that he's ready for Premier League action, and you know, I think Conte's earned the right to do that. And Batshuayi will get minutes. Whether he gets loads and loads of minutes, I'm not so sure. But there was talk of him going on loan to West Ham in January. I don't think that'll happen. You can't leave us that short.
To be fair, I think career-wise for him, I think I don't think leaving in January is going to do him any favours. I think if he's not playing anything by the summer, then you reassess it then. But for the moment, I think we're fast thinking to think that he's going to leave.
He's still young for a striker. You know, he's not losing out to bad players. He's losing out to Diego Costa. He's losing out to Eden Hazard. So, you know, he's very, very early stage of his Chelsea career. You know, it's a setback, and it was surprising, but there's nothing to say he can't recover from it.
Yeah. Okay then. Now, Aidan also asked a very interesting question, which is probably what a lot of fans are going to be wondering about at the moment. We play Tottenham on the 4th of January.
I'm buzzing.
Aren't we all? He says, do you think we can make it 14 straight wins and beat Arsenal's record?
Yeah, well, that equals Arsenal's record, but Arsenal's record doesn't count.
No, because
it was over 2 seasons.
Rubbish. We're already doing better anyway.
Exactly.
What do you think?
Yes, of course we can.
Thank you, Charlie. That's a little bit hesitant there.
No, that's not the issue. I don't want this winning run to become a millstone round our necks, particularly in what a lot of Chelsea fans see as the biggest game of the season, which is Tottenham away, obviously. We can. We've proved during this run that there is nothing this team is not capable of. You know, we can play incredible attacking football and beat Everton and Manchester United 4 and 5-0. We can grind out results against West Brom and
Palace.
Exactly. So beating Tottenham away is quite clearly not beyond this team.
Exactly. All right then. So multiple fans now are asking this. I thought I didn't want to name anyone specific because everybody's asking. James Rodriguez. Now, lots of talk of him coming to Chelsea. Is it possible? It's not going to be in January, is it?
Well, he's out of favour at Real Madrid. He wants to leave Real Madrid. He's not really got a look in under Zidane this season, and he's sort of fallen out of favour there. He cost him a hell of a lot of money after the 2014 World Cup, which is really where he burst on to the world stage in a big way. Obviously, he was a well-known player before that. He's being offered to Premier League clubs, and Chelsea are his first choice. I don't think that there's real interest from Chelsea there at the minute. I think a move to Italy or a move to China is more likely.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that he fits so much into the system that Chelsea are playing.
It's hard to say we need any reinforcements at the moment. I'm sure last January we were all thinking, who can we sign?
But, anyone.
It's not really necessary at the moment. Okay, then last question. Dante says, Musonda and Kennedy. Now, what's going on with them? Is Kennedy going to go?
Right, well, they've both come back from loans. Kennedy didn't have a very good time at Watford.
No.
The interesting thing about Kennedy, right? He played well last season. I mean, I remember standing next to you at Norwich when he was flying up and down the pitch and scored our opening goal there.
He's a really good player.
He is. I mean, there's questions over his attitude,
right?
Which is kind of the reason that he's not been involved at the club in the last sort of year.
Strange though, 'cause he's got such a little baby face smile, hasn't he? You wouldn't think he would have much of a temper. And not so much yours, but still so.
We like people like that, but. What Kennedy has got on his side is that he's almost the perfect style of player to cover for Alonso.
Yeah.
On that sort of left wing back role, up and down the pitch all day long. That's really his game. So, and it's an area at the minute where if Alonso gets injured, we're really struggling for solutions. So that might be a kind of stopgap way to fill that role. Now Musonda didn't have the best time at Real Betis this year, but I think he'll be going out on loan again. Roma are very interested in taking him on loan in January because Mohamed Salah, who we all know well, he's off to the African Cup of Nations, and as bizarre as it will sound to anyone that watches him play for Chelsea, he's a real key player for them.
Yeah.
So they want him to cover for that period.
So two different players, isn't he, Mo Salah?
I know.
For Chelsea and for other teams, it's not really the same person.
Bit like our mate Quadrado.
Yeah, there you go. All right then, guys, that's the end of our segment. I hope you all really enjoyed it. Comment below, let us know what you think. Who do you want us to sign in January? Is there anybody you feel that we could do with? It's like I said, it's hard to sort of pick a reinforcement at the moment because we're doing so well. But yeah, let's leave it on the note that